Welcome to Technofunk's video lesson on proprietorship. The sole trader organization, which is also called proprietorship, is the oldest form of organization. It is the most common form of organization that is in use for conducting small businesses even today. Let us explore what we mean by sole proprietorship and what are some distinct features of this structure. Definition of sole proprietorship. What do we mean by proprietorship in business? The sole trader organization is what is also called proprietorship. It is the oldest form of organization and the most common form of organization for small businesses, even today. In a proprietorship, the enterprise is owned and controlled only by one person. This form is one of the most popular forms because of the advantages it offers. It is the simplest and easiest to form from a regulatory and operations and control standpoint. This structure has its own limitations, the key ones being ability to scale and unlimited liability on the owner. The sole trader enjoys full control over the affairs of the firm. He alone is responsible for both the profits earned by the business and the loss. Sole proprietorship is one man's business. An individual invests and provides capital independently, works with his own skill and intelligence, and thereby is entitled to receive all the profits and in the process must assume all the risks of ownership. Under this form of business organization, no distinction is made between the business concern and the proprietor. The simplest and oldest form of business organization is the sole proprietorship. Some quote that it is even older than the concept of business itself. The sole proprietorship is a very common form of business organization. Most small businesses are sole proprietorships because they're the easiest and least expensive way to start a business. The sole proprietorship has only one owner. You will notice that many professionals, like a doctor or a chartered accountant, they conduct their practice individually and are sole professionals. Similarly, most typical businesses are started by little entrepreneurs. Example could be a sole craftsman, our neighborhood autonomous taxi driver, and so many store and grocery shop owners. Nowadays, many sole proprietors work from home, and starting a home-based business is often the first step towards establishing a business. Even an informal freelancer, through a simple process, can be formalized as sole micro-entrepreneur. A sole proprietorship is a form of business in which an individual starts a business, generally under his or her own name. It's a one-person business. Your business can't be a sole proprietorship if it has more than one owner. In a sole proprietorship, you are the business. The business isn't a separate entity from you. The IRS calls a sole proprietor someone who owns an unincorporated business by himself or herself. Now you can very well understand why the sole proprietorship is the most common business structure. Simply because the owner and his business are one and the same. Approximately 75% of all businesses in the United States today are organized as sole proprietorships. The sole proprietorship is the backbone of business in almost all the countries. The key reason for this is the easy to set it up. Let us understand the setup and registration process. A sole proprietorship is the easiest form of business organization to set up. Starting a sole proprietorship does take some effort, but relatively very less amount of documentation is required. Depending on your country or geography, local and state governments may require some paperwork. But it is minimal compared to other business structures, and you can usually complete this without much difficulty. Hence, the cost of setting up and organizing a sole proprietorship is relatively quite low. You don't have to prepare any legal agreements because you're not in business with someone else. Lastly, you don't have to set up an elaborate business structure, like having board of directors, meetings with investors or partners, no documentation of minutes, etc., and no complicated accounting for others' shares in the business. You just complete some simple steps and start running your business. Let us now understand the quick steps that may be required to start your business. The first one is, of course, deciding a business name. Most sole proprietors use their name to conduct their business. You can also choose to operate under a business name other than your own name. For that, you may need to apply for a certificate of doing business under an assumed name. You need a place to run your business. Finalize the location. You also need to plan and decide on a location for your business. There may exist some licensing requirements. A sole proprietorship is unique because it's the only business that doesn't have to register with a state. However, in some cases, based on your geography or the nature of the business, you may need to obtain a license from your local or state government. You may need people to help you run the business. Focus on staffing. If you need to hire one or more employees, you may also need an employer identification number. Open the bank account. This will come handy. It is advisable that you also set up a business checking account so that you don't mix up business and personal spending. The next step might be to apply for sales tax registrations. If you plan to sell taxable products or services, you must register with your state's taxing authority. You may be required to collect sales tax on any products you sell to customers. Seventh step is taxation. Yes, you may need to file income tax returns. The net income from a sole proprietorship is taxed at personal income tax rates. Generally, sole proprietorship income taxes are easy to file and quite straightforward. Once all of this is done, start working on sourcing your products or offering your services. You are all set to welcome your customers and earn profits. Now, it's time to do a quick recap of our understanding of the main features of the sole proprietorship business structure. Sole preceptorship is one-man ownership and there exists no separation of ownership and management. Due to single ownership, there exists high degree of supervision and control in the working of his business. No separate entity from the owner can be sued for business-related obligations. All profits belong to proprietor and on the other hand, there exists individual risk, as all losses in the business are to be borne by the proprietor himself. The proprietor has an unlimited liability. Personal property of the owner can be attached for business debts. As explained in last slide, the structure has a lot of ease of formation. Considerable less legal formalities to comply with. This form of business has inherent limitations. This is not suitable for large-scale operations, as the resources of the sole trader are limited. Still, it's the most popular form of business structure that exists in the real business world. We hope you enjoyed this video as much as we enjoyed making. Complete course along with certification is available at www.technofunk.org. Please like, provide your feedback and comments. Share with your friends. Subscribe to get notified of new tutorials. And don't forget to press the bell. Thank you again for watching our video.